Airlines and airports are constantly changing the rules, which has led to more passengers being denied from boarding a flight than ever before. Today's video explains exactly why this is happening and how you can avoid being denied from getting on the plane the next time you fly. The first reason travelers are being denied boarding at the airport is due to refusing facial recognition at the gate, especially if they are trying to board an international flight. Facial recognition has rolled out at dozens of airports around the world, including the US. The way it works is that as you go to board the plane, cameras are going to match your face to your passport photo in a government database. There's no need to show your ID or your boarding pass. While this is designed to make the boarding process quicker and more convenient, it is leading to quite a few headaches for passengers that have concerns over privacy. For domestic flights in the US, you can still opt out of facial recognition and have documents manually verified. However, for international flights, refusing this technology could mean that you're not getting on that plane. Only US citizens, permanent residents, Canadian citizens, and a handful of other exempt categories can opt out of facial recognition for international travel. Everyone else must comply or risk being denied boarding. The next reason travelers are denied boarding is being bumped from an overbooked flight when no one volunteers to give up their seat. Airlines routinely sell more tickets than seats, assuming that some people won't show up on the day of travel. With flights fuller than ever, this gamble is not working out well. When everyone shows up, airlines will then begin asking for volunteers to take a later flight in exchange for compensation. During online check-in, you might see an option to place a bid for how much money you'd be willing to accept to take a different flight. This is a clear indication that the flight is overbooked and the airline is concerned everyone might actually show up. The bid you place is not binding, and you can choose a recommended amount or enter a custom one, with lower bids often being selected first. If no volunteers step forward, then airlines are forced to involuntarily bump passengers, and this could be based on factors like the time that they checked in, their airline status, or their fare type. Often passengers that are seated in basic economy are at the highest risk of being booted from the flight. The silver lining is that if you are involuntarily bumped from a flight, you are entitled to significant compensation under US regulations, sometimes up to 400% of your one-way fare. I'll link to the exact compensation rules in the description so you know what you're owed if you do ever find yourself in this situation. There also typically isn't enough overhead bin space on the plane to accommodate every passenger bringing a carry-on suitcase, meaning some passengers will need to have theirs checked into baggage claim as opposed to taking it on the flight. And refusing to check in your carry-on suitcase when you're asked is another reason that you might be denied from getting on the plane. And let's be honest, if they're asking you to check in your suitcase, they aren't really asking. Even if your bag or your suitcase does meet the airline size restrictions, full flights often mean insufficient overhead bin space. And then when bins fill up, gate agents ask remaining passengers to check their carry-on suitcase to baggage claim, usually at no cost, assuming your carry-on is not oversized. Many passengers are upset when they're asked to check their carry-on suitcase in, and will refuse due to concerns about lost or damaged luggage or needing access to essentials that are packed inside of their suitcase for the flight. Just like what happened to this WestJet couple who were removed from their flight after refusing to check their carry-on suitcase since it contained essential medications. I'm excited to have partnered with Nomad Lane on this video to show you how their V4 bento bag can help save you from parting with your essentials, even if you are asked to check your carry-on suitcase in at the boarding gate. Unlike a carry-on that might get taken at the gate, the bento bag counts towards your personal item allowance, so it's going to stay with you for the entire flight. The bento bag is designed to maximize your personal item space while still sliding perfectly underneath the seat in front of you. This means that your medications, electronics, and other valuables can stay safe and easy to access. The clamshell design opens flat like a mini suitcase, making it super easy to organize everything and quickly grab what you need without unpacking your entire bag. I'm always blown away by just how much I can pack into it, and will even use it as my only piece of luggage for short weekend trips. You can find the V4 bento bag at nomadlane.com and then use the code MEGAN10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your order. They just released this gorgeous new blush color that I am absolutely obsessed with, and you will definitely want to check it out before your next flight. Another reason travelers are denied boarding is being deemed unfit for the flight. This broad category includes being visibly intoxicated, appearing too sick to fly, or showing signs of extreme anxiety or distress. Airlines must ensure everyone's safety and comfort, and if they believe that you might cause issues during the flight or endanger yourself, they can prevent you from boarding. I once saw a passenger rejected from an early morning flight leaving Las Vegas after definitely having had one too many or two too many drinks. Remember that airline staff make the final call on your fitness to fly. And once they've decided that you're unfit for the flight, arguing against an agent is only going to strengthen their case against you, which leads us right into the next point. Being rude or showing aggressive behavior towards airline or airport staff is a fast track to being denied from boarding a flight. This might seem obvious, but many people seem to still think that they can argue or yell their way onto the plane. Gate agents and flight attendants have significant discretion over who boards and who doesn't, and if they believe that you're going to be disruptive, they can deny you. Remember that these employees deal with hundreds of stressed out travelers daily. Being polite and understanding, even when things don't go as you expected, are going to get you much further than losing your temper. Airlines are implementing new technologies to catch passengers who don't follow the rules. For one in particular, the consequences are both immediate and embarrassing. Failing to follow airline or crew instructions can quickly escalate into denied boarding. Even if you're not being rude, simply ignoring directions can become serious, as ignorance is not an excuse. I've even seen travelers walk onto the jet bridge to board the flight while ignoring gate agents calling after them to check their carry-on suitcase in, which resulted in them being chased down by security and removed from the flight. American Airlines, as well as others, are testing automated systems to crack down on gate lice, which are passengers who crowd the boarding gate area and try to board before their group or their zone number is called. If you try to do this and you scan your boarding pass too early, the system is going to sound an alarm, lock you out, and then force you to walk to the back of the line. While it's usually just temporary, this is embarrassing enough to want to avoid it. Booking a flight through a scam can be difficult to avoid, and having a fake ticket at the airport is most certainly going to result in you being denied from boarding the flight. While legitimate low fares do happen occasionally, many deals are going to be scams. Booking through unauthorized third-party websites might leave you with a reservation that doesn't exist. There are plenty of horror stories of travelers arriving for flights only to discover that they've been scammed. It's always a good idea to book through the airline's website directly, and if a deal seems incredibly cheap, make sure to call the airline to confirm your reservation before you head to the airport. There was a time that I showed up at a 5-star resort in Egypt only to find out that my booking was a scam. Turns out that when you get a 5-star resort for $50 a night, it's probably not legit. So when you book a flight ticket that seems too good to be true, it probably is. The 8th reason travelers are denied boarding is due to having a strong or offensive smell. This one might sound like a joke, but it is a legitimate reason for an airline to refuse you. Whether it's excessive body odor, overwhelming perfume, marijuana smoke sticking to your clothes, or a combination of all of the above, odors that might make other passengers uncomfortable can get you bumped from a flight. While it's obviously a sensitive topic, airlines consider the comfort of all passengers sharing a small enclosed space for hours. If they believe you'll be significantly impacting another passenger's comfort, you probably won't be getting on the plane. Violating the airline's dress code is another reason that you might be denied boarding. Major carriers like American and United Airlines are now explicitly banning bare feet on flights, with policies that allow them to deny boarding to passengers who they consider not properly clothed. The next reason travelers are denied boarding is due to missing required documents, such as a visa or a vaccination certificate. Different countries have different entry requirements, and it is your responsibility to know what you need. Some destinations will require American citizens to have a visa in order to travel to them, while other destinations are going to require proof of a vaccination or evidence of onward travel. Airlines check these documents before boarding because they will face deportation costs and possibly other fines for transporting passengers that end up being denied boarding at their destination. Always double-check the requirements at travel.state.gov before you book your flight, and then double-check these requirements before your day of travel. There are also some simple mistakes that you could make while booking your flight ticket that will lead to you being denied from getting on the plane, even if you have a valid ID. Having the name or other information on your booking not match your ID is a common reason for being denied boarding. Whether it's due to a recent name change, using a nickname instead of your legal name, or a simple typo in your birth date, Any discrepancy between your ticket and your ID can mean you're not getting on the plane. If your full legal name is Maximus Smith, do not book your flight ticket under Max Smith. Always ensure the name on your booking exactly matches your ID, including middle names or initials as they appear on your ID. And if you do notice any discrepancies, call the airline immediately. You may face a name change fee, which could be $100 or $200, but that's definitely better than being denied from getting on the plane once you've made it to the airport. Missing the check-in cutoff time, even if you're at the airport, can result in denied boarding as well. Airlines have strict cutoff times for check-in and baggage drop, which is typically 45 to 60 minutes before departure for domestic flights and 60 to 90 minutes for international. Even if you're physically at the airport, missing these cutoff times might prevent you from getting on the plane. If it's available, use the online check-in window that opens 24 hours before most flights, and then arrive at the airport with plenty of buffer time. Arriving at your gate after the boarding process closes, even if the plane has yet to depart, will also get you denied boarding. This differs from missing the check-in time that we covered in the last point. You might be checked in and through security, but if you don't reach your boarding gate before it closes, which is typically 15 to 30 minutes before the flight's departure, you will not be getting on the plane. Aim to be at the gate at least 10 minutes before boarding time, not departure time. If you arrive at your gate at your flight's departure time, it is already too late. Far too late. Factors beyond the airline's control, and certainly beyond your own control, can lead to denied boarding for everyone. These include severe weather, air traffic control instructions, airport facility issues, medical emergencies on previous flights, political unrest at your destination, or some other security threat. These decisions prioritize passenger safety. When these occur, airlines will typically rebook passengers on the next available flight and may provide accommodations and food vouchers depending on the circumstances. Stay calm, be flexible, and work with the airline staff to find the best alternative. Not having the correct ID for an international or a domestic flight is becoming a bigger concern as new rules come into effect. With Real ID requirements in effect as of May 7, 2025, you'll now need a Real ID compliant driver's license, usually with a star in the upper right corner, or another acceptable form of ID like a passport or an enhanced license for domestic flights in the US. You can find a full list of acceptable IDs for domestic and international flights on the TSA government website. For international travel, you will most likely need a valid passport with at least 6 months of validity beyond your return date. Ironically, while ID requirements are tightening at the moment, we may be moving towards a future where no ID and no boarding pass is required for travel at all. This change is being called the biggest airline industry shakeup in 50 years, and it could be fully implemented across the globe as early as 2028. I'll put a video on the screen now, as well as link it for you in the description, where I break down everything you need to know about this massive update that is going to forever change the way that we travel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join us back here for more travel tips and hacks each week, and I will see you in that next video soon. Bye.